Well, here we are. I'm really excited to use this camera, to be honest. I've literally just got it for my birthday yesterday. And what better way to use it for the first time than doing a video all about grip. Specifically grip strength, not just like, gripping people, gripping animals or anything fucking weird. And I've wanted to do like a little challenge for myself for quite some time, but life gets in the way. I'm a married man, got children. And also, I think I was putting it off because I wanted to use some cool tech like this to be able to do it as well. So I've actually been training my grip and my grip strength for over 20 years. I'm now into my late 30s, and a Captains of Crush was the first time I ever bought anything to train my crushing grip. And I actually bought, I can't remember if it was a number 1 or a 1.5, and I actually bought a number 2 as well, not knowing, completely unknown to me, that how difficult of these things, they actually were. And then through other modalities of training, and I was in the military as well, I got to train my grip on a variance of things across a variance of modalities. So, and in the last sort of 4 to 5 years, my wife has been helping me basically put together something that I've called the Grip Dungeon. I don't claim to be the Christian Grey of the grip world by any means, and I'll probably do a different video all about the equipment that I've got, just sort of showing you a few little things that I've acquired over the years. But coming to the main point of this video, one thing that I've wanted to do for a while is do 30 days back to back, which is something I've never done before. I've always had quite large periods of rest, in between my grip training sessions. I want to do 30 days back to back of crushing grip, so using the Captains of Crush. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this. Reason number 1 is, you might not be able to see it on this video, but just down there, over the last 3 months, I've worked my way through about 6 tons of wood. So there's like a few houses being built on the other side of our sort of fences and hedge line, and we got given quite a lot of wood. And one of the challenges I wanted to set myself with that was to actually chop it up myself. So I've got a 14-pound sledgehammer, like a metal splitting cone, and we already had a little axe because we've got a wood fire anyway. And basically I've worked my way through that wood, sort of smashing it up with the sledgehammer, chopping it up with the smaller axe, down into pieces that can dry out. And the one big thing that I've noticed, and this is, probably sounds ridiculous to those that have sort of manual jobs, which I don't anymore, is how much stronger my hands, fingers, wrist, forearms and elbows and shoulders feel. So my first reason is I want to capitalize on what I've already been building these last few months. Because already, even when I picked up my grippers like a couple of weeks ago, and I put some of the ones that I'm trying to transition into, because eventually I want to be able to, close a Captains of Crush number 3. That's one of my big goals, right, to get certified. It's a bit nerdy, but I'm quite excited by it. I picked up one of my transition grippers, and I'd not been training with them for quite some time because, we were a little bit ill at the beginning of this year, and I nearly closed it. So that really told me straight away, it gave me some really positive signals that, I've been doing some sort of passive work to improve grip and all the other things in and around it. So now I want to piggyback on that and hopefully transition into being able to close a 2.5 and then get as close as possible to, closing the number 3. So that's the first reason. Second reason why I want to do this challenge is, I guess, to inspire some people, potentially, even if it's just, 2 or 3 blokes. I've seen some huge benefits from having stronger fingers, hands and wrists over the years. Not just, within my training, but also just in day-to-day life. Once upon a time, I was actually a personal trainer. We had our own fitness business, looked after thousands of people. And one of the things I used to get all of my clients to do, whether they were younger or whether sometimes I was looking after like 80-year-old guys and ladies, I'd always get people to train their fingers, their hands, their wrists, because I just realized how important it is to make sure you can sometimes save yourself from falling, or just having the ability to just do something as simple as open a jar or a bottle. And I think in a world where there's just masses and masses of information, I'm actually going to take a sit down for a second and see how we get on with this, face tracking business. I think in a world full of information now, you know, and like, how do I train and what's the best way to train? I think often, you know, grip strength is forgotten about. It's neglected a lot of the time. Instead, people are still focusing on a lot of the other lifts that generally are probably not as important as training, you know, the hooks, the tangible parts that interact with the rest of your world. So if I can inspire a few people to maybe take up, you know, doing some grip, you know, strength training, or maybe it captures them to do something maybe a little bit more full time. Maybe you become like a grip athlete, because that is a thing now. Then I think that'd be a really positive thing. So it's the 19th of August today. So I'm actually going to use this afternoon, once I've finished recording this, to put together what the plan is going to be, essentially, what I'm actually going to do through these 30 days. I can imagine I'm going to need to, knowing myself, I'm going to need to put in some recovery days where I'm still using the grippers, because that's the whole idea of this challenge, but I'm not working up towards, you know, some of the heavier ends of things. And also I've got quite a bit of equipment from Iron Mind, and that's the company that makes the Captains of Crush, but I've got recovery tools, I've got these like egg-shaped, sort of soft, squeezy things. I'm going to incorporate some of that into it just to make sure I'm getting some blood flow around my hands. And we also own an ice bath. So I've not very well practiced with this camera, so you have to excuse my camera skills. But yeah, this is our ice bath. You know, from the ice bath company, you can see, you know, tell me you're a parent without telling me you're a parent. There's just chalk and all sorts of stuff laying around it. But like at the minute, if I can get the camera to look in on it, you know, you're looking at 10 degrees Celsius. I'll basically be using the ice bath once or twice every single day whilst I'm going through this 30-day challenge. Oh, let's see if I can spin this back to my face. Hello, face. So yeah, I'll definitely be using, you know, little things like that, you know, to help with the recovery, and just, I guess, document the process, you know, as I'm going through it, and let you guys know, you know, is it a good idea to train your grip every day? Or is it more of a thing where, you know, you're going to need a week or a few days in between training sessions? But I've been reading a really interesting book, and it's lived on my bedside for probably about a year now. It's by a chap called Tommy Heslop. I think that's his surname. I'll put it into the description of the video. And he's talking about, through periods of time, he did, you know, back-to-back days and weeks of where he would be trying to push the boundaries of what his hands and everything else around it, all the other mechanical parts, to the limits. And sometimes that's needed, you know, in order to, you know, stretch your body to places it's never been before. And I feel like I'm at that point, having created a really solid foundation with the sledgehammering and the axing and going through that 6 tons of wood. You know, so please don't take this, you know, what I actually do through these training videos as gospel training advice. You know, just use it more potentially as inspiration, and maybe just to laugh and poke fun at what I'm doing. So yeah, just one last little thought then. Any of the bits of training that I'm going to create for myself to follow over these 30 days, it's my whiteboard behind me in the office, I'll put into like some sort of Google Doc or something accessible. So if you did want to see exactly, you know, what I'm doing through this period of time, you're more than welcome to, you know, observe that as well. All right, so check that out in the description.